There is prizing from top 8 in this tournament, thankfully. So as long as you fight until the end, you can always break in, especially because there isn't a full tournament this time. If you guys want to join the next one, make sure to be inside of the iKailaCorp, the iKaila Discord server. I believe it's not in this description just because I didn't have very much time, but if you go to any of my other video descriptions, will be there to join that, or Eggman events to be notified of whenever these events are happening so that you can play in them as well.
Absolutely. Definitely going to be, a lot of fun going forward. I mean, I think even in the future, just show up even if you don't get one of the initial spots. We do have a lot of last minute cancels, like this event as well was initially filled up, but we did have some cancels, so there are always going to be some space. So, just show up, have some fun. It'll be a good time.
If you want to play in these tournaments, there are some pretty good prizing, because I think we actually haven't mentioned, by the way, there is OP17 boxes up for grabs in this tournament, but there are also little points.
Yeah, little points. There are points for the iKailaCup, and they are going to be, able to get some very interesting things. The biggest of which, 300 points, which is a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Even if you win, you only get 10.
So yeah, so it's 30 wins. We're thinking about adding some different ways to get points as well, with things like bounties as well. But if you get 30 wins, you can get a free trip to Japan. Terms and conditions apply.
Figure out your visa yourself, but we will pay for the hotel and the flight. And also, we'll play in a tournament with you, 3v3 tournament or something locally. So that'll be a whole lot of fun if you can manage to get to that point. Lots of other prizing as well, base shop figures, huge sleeve sheath bundles, deals, gift cards from them.
It's going to be Diego versus Slade. So it is going to be our Kaido player coming back. And he is going to be up against, I believe, Rocks.
That'll be an exciting matchup. Another matchup that is actually pretty good.
It is
for... Okay, a different matchup, which honestly...
I'm actually really interested to see this.
Yeah.
Because I have not seen it before.
So one of the big things, 9mom cannot get rid of the 6 cost Enel, but the 10 cost
can.
10 cost Kaido can. We know that he runs that card. One thing I do have to agree with the chat here is that I think that good Enel players, I can respect them a lot. There's a lot of difficult lines that you have to take as Enel to actually make this deck function in the face of some of these more difficult matchups. I don't respect Mihawk. Just as a deck fundamentally. People who play them, I have no qualms with them, but Mihawk as a deck has caused me so much trouble since my EMA decks that when I see that leader, I'm not having a great time. So I'm happy to see it not in the X0 bracket anymore. As we do jump into this game, it does look like Enel was able to go first.
You are completely wrong.
I'm completely wrong. I'm completely wrong. I only saw one going on Enel's side, but no, he is going second, which means that Kaido is going first, which is going to be very good for him.
Yeah, so the big thing here is Kaido going to be able to, play something here that gives him a Dawn. 3 is a good number. Yamato, that's great. Love to see it. Now, does he have King?
If he has the King, this is exactly what he wants to see. Doesn't have the Queen, which will help filter for that King, but if he just has it in his hand already, it doesn't really matter.
Is Kaido not base cost? Kaido is not base cost. If it was, it would be very good because he could play into things like the Loki, but that is not available to him. I'm sure all Kaido players would love if we could have changed that.
Yes, but all King players like that it is not based on base cost. That effect is specifically designed so that King can also use it to get rid of an 8 cost on the board, but King needs a little bit more than that, unfortunately, even though the card is very, very strong.
So we are seeing Shoulda come out, Shoulda immediately being used to attack. Kai messing with the graphic and failing at it. But we don't have to tell anybody about that.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that everything is in frame.
There we go.
There we go. Yep.
Okay, so immediately using the block from the Yamato 5K. That looks good. Is it going to be the 6 cost King? Absolute hero card. We are going to accelerate a Dawn. We're going to use that extra Dawn to even play a Queen. Oh, a Search. Still absolutely amazing. This is probably the 10 out of 10 curve so far from Kaido.
It is beautiful right now from Kaido. And if he could chain this into a 10 cost, and this is exactly where he wants to be. He's going first. He has the triple ramp going into the 10 dong turn on what should be his 7 dong turn, meaning that Enel, though he will be able to play down a 6 cost Enel on this turn, as will be the snap. Is that, wow, that's a very expensive Enel on the board.
That is a very expensive Enel on the board.
Yeah, and think that Kaido was able to print out his cards for less than 20 cents. Yeah, Enel.
That's a real King.
That is a real King.
That's an alt art. Yeah, that thing's going up in price.
Yeah, but the new cards, thankfully, because this is a proxy allowed tournament, does mean that we are going to have a couple of proxies cards that you can also print out through Eggman's website. Once again, shout out to him for helping us organize this event. He is going to be able to get down that 6-cost Enel, but if Kaido can respond with that negating and KOing Kaido, then it's going to be rough.
Yeah, no, that would be extremely strong. Seems like our Enel player is just debating about whether or not he wants to use some of its events to search for something, I would assume, before using his leader ability.
Yeah, starting with the swing at leader, and Kaido will just take it. Doesn't want to use his leader effect. Yeah, you can't use it on his leader anyways, but you don't want to use your leader effect in the early game as Kaido if you want to play down that 10 cost just to make sure you can actually go up to 10 dong. But Enel, still a very strong curve, plays down the 6 cost, plays a 1 cost that will act as an attacker on the turn after that as well.
Absolutely. So we don't see the 10 cost. We do see Queen coming down, which means Enel has dodged the biggest demon, if you will. Do we have a 9 cost? We still can use, though, the Kaido effect into -1 dot and use King to restand and then play a 10 cost that way. It looks like that might be the play.
Yeah, I mean, this helps him just search for another 10 costs here. And if he just re-ramps that dong with King's effect specifically, it gets the active dong first before the rest of the dong, meaning that you will be able to ramp that dong active and play down a 10 cost still if he has it.
I mean, if he has it, that definitely seems to be the play 10 out of 10 times. Does he have it? I mean, I think 10 cost something is coming. It's just what kind of 10 cost do we have?
Yeah.
Oh, no. He doesn't have a 10 cost at all. It's another queen.
Yeah, going to be playing down the queen, but as long as he has a 9 cost, he can still play it down, and there are some very solid 9 costs, whether it be the lead performer's 9 mom if he tends to run it, but he may not even run 9 mom given the fact that we've seen so many lead performers.
Yeah, it is just going to be the lead performer, so not the ideal turn for sure, but I mean, definitely could be worse.
It could be much worse. He still has 5 life, so I think he's still relatively happy. Does also have his leader effect online now, finally. We'll be able to -2k one of those characters, which makes those little poke attacks that Enel has that much less scary.
Oh, I'm sorry, he did use Very, it seems. That probably was the dice. Yes, he did use Very. We apologize for that. It's kind of hard to see sometimes. That was the little dice that we saw. So it was a Very. So he was dodging the 10 cost. So he might have just been opting not to play it in general. I would assume he would still want the 10 cost blocker if he had it.
Yeah.
So missing that is a little bit of a sad point. But even if he had the negate, Kaido would not play it as Very was played. Thank you, chat, for being so much better than I am at everything.
It's even as commentators, we will miss some things just because we have to yap while we're staring at the game, and hey,
also no sound, so kind of hard to see.
Yeah, we can't hear what's going on in the game sometimes, so there will be some confusion every now and then. But I do agree. If he did have that 10 cost blocker Kaido, then he would have preferred to play it down on that turn. So just playing down the lead performers, well, it will give him 1 life. Definitely still a lot of time. I mean, in the long run, he definitely would have preferred that blocker.
Yeah, I think 10 cost blocker would have been better than the lead performers 9 times out of 10. But still going to be strong, still going to have access to the 10 cost KO Kaido if it is in his hand, and he just wasn't playing it because of the Very. And I mean, 5 life versus Enel at this point in the game, you're feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I'm surprised how comfortable he's feeling. Now, Enel may have had a little bit of a slow start, but is going to use the VOD once again on the active Enel. So though maybe one of the characters will die, he does avoid the 10 cost Kaido to KO, negating and KOing one of the characters, while also just swing into the other one. That -2k actually matters a whole lot when your characters are so high in power.
Absolutely. Is this the finals? It could be the finals. We are not sure. There is a down pair, so it could be the last round. It seemingly might be just because it is going to be Rocks versus Mihawk, and Mihawk is so far has seemed to be favored in that matchup, but of course it is not unwinnable by any means. So we will have to check out the other match as the game goes on. So it is going to be Lightning Dragon into the King after reducing it with the Ohm. And Enel players, man, they're really good at the game.
Enel players are very good at the game. They see the game at a different dimension. These purple mirrors can be somewhat tricky, but thankfully, unlike a purple mirror like Roshinante versus Enel, you don't have anything that interacts with the opponent's dong. Kaido, he just goes. He just gets the dong as 10 dong as fast as possible, and just plays down his big stuff, and he will continue to do so on this turn.
Yeah, so it looks like it is going to be a 10 cost. Which one is it going to be, though? It is going to be the KO Kaido going after the rested Enel because Very is, of course, activated on to the other Enel. And then just going to be a 5k. I wonder if he's going to use the reduction to try and take out his own with his queens. Seemingly that is the play.
Yeah, just going for the reduction, it seems, despite the fact he doesn't have that 10 cost block Kaido on the board quite yet, it is really nice to see, although he did get that early ramp with the queen into the king, he didn't find the 10 cost Kaido, which a lot of people are saying is instrumental to starting the game as Kaido. So really nice to see how in this game and also the game before, he's been able to make it work despite not seeing what is technically supposed to be his perfect curve.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the 6 cost king is kind of acting as a replacement, being able to use that queen with the reduction from the leader to take out the ohms. It definitely seems, even though he, hasn't had the perfect curve, if you will, still seemingly very comfortable so far in this matchup. Enel down to 2 life, Kaido full of cards, full of life, big board. What more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for but another negate Kaido, honestly?
I mean, seemingly pretty good card.
Yeah, and still at 4 life until this point in a deck that can just keep healing. That 4 life wall is going to be huge, especially considering that he's going to be able to use his leader effect every single turn, not only on his turn, but the opponent's as well. So honestly, I mean, I don't blame the Enel for using the body the turn before. By doing that, he was able to avoid both Enels dying, but being in a situation where you have to worry about your Enels dying is really not a thing that you're used to as Enel in general.
Absolutely. I mean, if he ended up not using the very on the active Enel, he would have lost that. And then because of the leader effect, and we have big characters like the lead performers, you might even have to be, playing around Jack, which could reduce it further, and then be another attack into that Enel. There's just so many things you have to be thinking about as the Enel player in this matchup. Definitely feels like the Enel knows the matchup very well. It just doesn't seem like a good matchup in general.
Yeah, so far it really hasn't been Enel being able to find any sort of aggression, even if he has those sorts of power reduction tools that Enel is notorious for, whether it be the Gamma Knife or the Divine Departure. It would be very difficult to get rid of some of these characters as they're so large, and also that King, regardless if you KO it through effects or through combat, it's just going to stick onto the board if you trash or if you return one Dong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even without, it's not 9 cut check, it is going to be the lead performers right now. So yeah, I mean, trying to protect the arrested NL because of things like the Jack, because of the fact that King is there and you're going to be able to get another active Don. Even minimum, it's going to be 12k into your 8k NL. That's a lot to protect. It's 3 cards out of hand minimum. And then we can't even account for things like the Jack that could have come out after lead performers being another attack and another reduction. It's just a very hard matchup in general, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that maybe the aggression of Enel might be enough just swinging 6 over and over again, but hey, I mean, negating one of those with that leader effect every single turn is adding up quite a bit. Now down to 3 life, but I can easily recover it at any point as Enel. He's going gambling. It's crazy that Kaido even has that many cards in his hand.
Yeah, definitely very rare for Kaido to, have 7 cards in hand, but going to be very effective for sure, no matter what deck you're playing. Divine Departure, and I could not quite see the
I think that was the... Oh, did you just trust the top 2 cards?
Yeah.
Might have been. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Divine Departure, though, is somewhat significant. He does have that other 10 cost Kaido on the board, which will turn your bricks into 1k counters, so it does help out a little bit there. But in the case that you don't have that card, this deck does tend to just have a ton of bricks in their hand. So having that Divine Departure, not only for the power reduction, but just for the counter effect as well, can be very nice, as Enel is just going to swing for another 6k at leader.
Yes, and I believe it's going to reduce the King again. Hopefully going to be able to Giant Bolt Dragon, Lightning Dragon, that King again as well. I mean, I think also a little bit of a pain point for Enel so far has been he is going second in a matchup that, you really need to go first in, just because of Kaido's power being so much stronger going first. Like, just thinking about how the game plays out, if Kaido ends up going first, he is able to immediately answer the Enel, but if you end up going second, there is no way to answer the Enel, so you will always have 2 Enels immediately, which means he could have ended up using Varies on both of the Enels and, been a little bit safer. And it looks like we got a siren because the ambulance is coming for our Enel player.
Yeah, the ambulance here for Enel, as he did unfortunately go second in this matchup and wasn't able to really keep up, as Kaido has successfully been able to pull that negate Kaido to get rid of one of the Enels on the board. Still, I mean, Enel, he's developing his board, he is spreading out, getting Kaido down to 2 life, but every single time that it comes back to Kaido's turn, you have to wonder what he's going to end up playing out, because every single card that he plays is so scary.
Absolutely. So going to be a 7k and another, just cleaning up his hand, going to be playing down that queen, discarding a king for the draw.
Yeah, this card's so good. Not only is it a ramp tool, like, it is technically speaking worse at ramping than Onigashima, but just having 1k counter and also the filtering ability is so nice in a deck that has so few actual natural searchers.
Absolutely. So going to be reducing the Ohm, I would guess, just so that he has more attacks with his queens that are already on the field. And then in 5k into, I would assume, leader, just because the Ohm is seemingly free. Yeah, and that is going to be the play. Reducing that Ohm, making sure that your queens are going to continue to be effective, and go after the leader.
Yeah, I mean, very powerful play right now, and that he still has. Oh no, does he not have lead performance anymore? Yeah, he doesn't at this point. But is gonna play down the 10 cost mom, which is one of the most terrifying
Oh
cards.
no.
So this is actually one thing worth mentioning, is that it reduces the opponent's base power, not current power, which means that this Enel, although it will become 0 power, because the effect itself, or the card itself, has the effect of giving the character plus 2,000 power, this character is 2,000 power right now rather than 0. It doesn't make a huge difference.
Yes, I mean, it's still... Actually, it does make a huge difference because the queens are no longer going to be able to attack into it. There's going to be 12k power into that Enel, I would assume. We still have the king effect to be able to try and attack into the Enel if you would so like, but is opting not to do so, effectively using that Lin just as, an additional heal for the turn.
Yeah, and back to 3 life. This deck has already had 7 life this game in total, the 5 plus the 2 that have been healed while just developing these massive characters that just get harder and harder to deal with. Even as Enel deck that's so good at clearing the board, when they're this high in power, you really need things like Gum Gum Lightning in tandem with Kiten and Gamma Knife to actually get rid of those 12,000 power characters.
Absolutely, and just because you're playing them every turn, you're spending 3 cards to get rid of 1 card, it's just not a great trade.
Yeah, no, it's really not great considering that those 12,000 power characters can also heal, for example. So, I mean, it feels like if Enel ever tries to play the control game that he is so used to, then he just slowly runs out of resources in his hand. Much harder to do this into a ramp deck than a deck like Black Yellow Teach, for example, that plays his big characters but on curve. I don't know, Kaido's looking pretty good right now.
Kaido's looking extremely good right now.
Man, this is throwing a wrench in my plans for Flame Fruit, because this deck is looking really powerful right now. He told me before the tournament that he would be taking it home, and
he's taking it home.
He is taking it home right now. This could potentially be the final game. We do have one more X0 person in this tournament, but depending on the result against the we have X0 person against the X1 person. If he ends up losing that match, then this will be the last game. But if he ends up winning, we will have one more game, and that would guarantee one of these decks against Rocks if it goes up against that point. If it goes up to that point.
Yeah, so of course the other game is still going on, so no update there yet. We will, of course, try to update you as soon as we know the results of the other game as well, just because it is so important to be seeing if we have another round today in this tournament. Starting off with just a simple Satori attack into the queen, taking that out. Now we're attaching a Dawn, and we're going for a Divine Departure into the Kaido, I would assume.
Yep, this is the only way that you can actually get enough power reduction to really deal with these characters. One Gamma Knife would still make those 7,000 power, so the Divine Departure coming out.
Divine Departure plus Kitten and using an L-Tor to get rid of the Mum. Is he going to actually able to get rid of the Kaido as well?
Oh.
What an absolute gamer.
He's going for it. Yeah, the leader effect just slamming all of the Dong onto that character that he protected the turn before. And now just going to try to swing into the Kaido to clear these characters despite being 12,000 power. Now, it's still not impossible for Kaido to actually protect this, but that Riplaw the turn before, taking out not only the Divine Departure, but also the Usohachi, is a lot of counter lost.
Yeah, so it's going to be 5 Dawn attached, I think, plus 1. So 6 Dawn plus 16k into the Kaido. We need 5k counter. And it's not that much because of leader ability. You only need 3k, right? Yeah, Divine Departure.
I don't know how much he's
I mean,
attacking for.
I'm sure the math was right.
I trust these players.
Yeah, I
If he
trust the
can
players that they understand that the math was right. He does counter out. He saves the Kaido. That's the important part.
Yeah, the 16,000
And
power
we
swing.
got an update from Eggman. Down paired lost. This is the finals.
This is the finals of the first iKailaCup. It could be Purple Kaido taking it home, as Rox has unfortunately lost in the down pair against Green Mihawk. Green Mihawk fighting for his life to try to get into that top 4 for those packs, as well as the cute little points that you can redeem for some small things like a trip to Japan.
Yeah, I mean, just a small free trip to Japan.
Just a little free trip to Japan, no visa included.
Yeah, little tiny, hopefully you get a visa trip to Japan.
Yeah, and so that means that we have a purple mirror in the finals. The deck, honestly, the color that people have been discrediting the most, people talking about red ace, green Mihawk, blue rocks, black and yellow Linlin. But people have not been talking about purple. But here it is in the finals. Purple Enel against Kaido. He has protected that Kaido, so you will be able to hold on to it until the next turn, and that king is going to be as immovable as ever.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Enel, also one of those decks that, has kind of been discounted so far, but making it all the way to the finals and trying to come out of this seemingly very hard matchup. Yeah, so just immediately ramping back to 10. Only 9 active Dawn, though. King, an incredibly strong card. You don't need a visa necessarily. It depends on where you are from. Most people can just get in on a visitor visa, but it's a disclaimer.
Yeah, I think once you get to like 280 points, you can start to think about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, just starting the turn off and just doing his best to keep chipping away at Enel's board here. Though Enel did have a very powerful turn before, Kaido was able to hold onto his 10 cost Kaido onto the board, so that is going to be a 12,000 power attack into, I believe, an 8,000 power Enel after the power reduction from leader.
Yes. So 2k, 1k, it seems like there's a little bit of discussion. Yep, he gives the final 2k.
Yep, the Elthor that can give any Enel plus 2,000 power. Just making sure that that is the case.
Yeah, the alt arts for the Mamaragon and the Elthor do look a little bit alike for sure. So definitely understand having a little bit of confusion there. I mean, King attacking into it probably could take it out, but it seems he's just going for leader, as it's only a 7k attack.
Yep, just going to keep going for it, which means that Enel, we don't know his hand size, but slowly but surely being chipped away as Kaido has the ability to heal. But, oh, there's the 9 Mom, which we weren't sure if he was running.
You mean lead performers?
Is that lead performers?
That's lead performers.
Okay, that looked like 9 Mom to me. But that's going to be the lead performers.
Immediately
heal
into a queen.
That queen, not going to do all too much here, but when we saw the banish do something crazy the turn before, but still, getting rid of that pudding attack is one less attack that he has to worry about on this next turn from Enel. So if Enel wants to go for lethal here, he's going to need a whole lot of Shoulda.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's realistic that he could ever go for lethal when he gains a life and doesn't have access to that pudding. Just not enough attacks, even if you're minusing your heart out. Definitely seems very difficult right now, doesn't it?
Man, this Kaido deck.
This Kaido deck, man.
This Kaido deck's doing some crazy things. It feels like Enel, I mean, he's been playing a pretty strong card. He played 2 6-cost Enels in a row. Also had the body to make sure that they wouldn't die immediately to that 10-cost negation from the Kaido. But still isn't enough right now. Just able to consistently clear his board. The power reduction, hitting into them with very large attacks, and using the removal for the rest of them is just so powerful. And that is going to be the Reiju coming out, which usually would be comboed with something like Gemini, is going to use it, but the power is so high right now, he might just be looking to reduce the power of that Kaido and just swing into it really big.
Yeah, I think it's probably just a big swing with the NL angle, try to get something off the field. But, it feels like it's just a bit of triage without actually, furthering his game plan. It doesn't feel like there's much progression going on, and his life is slowly dwindling down.
Yeah, at the very least, if this Kaido disappears with this attack, which I'd be surprised if it didn't.
Guess
but
it does, but you never know.
yeah, it does disappear. At least this next attack does go into leader, so you're making a little bit of progress there, as you can't use your leader effect on this attack. Is going to take that. Thankfully, there isn't any sort of crazy trigger that this deck can run aside from
Aside from searching.
Yeah, it's about to say just searching. There is also an event that minuses 1 dong to draw 2 cards, but that can sometimes trip you up, especially when you are keeping control of the amount of dong they have on your field, preparing for the next turn. A lot of people are choosing not to run that card, but is going to search, and I think just picked up a big Kaido there.
Yeah, so definitely seems very strong. Seems like blocker Kaido was the pickup from the search. But I mean, we do just have, a big banish beater and a lot of Dawn. So I think first things first, we're going to see if this is able to just get through.
Yeah, I mean, the banish was devastating in the last game that we saw against Mihawk, where it got rid of a Luna. That trigger would have rested any character on the opponent's board and potentially would have stopped lethal. But
Banish goes through. It is only a pink, so no counter lost, but he does just have a 17k attack.
Yeah, there is thankfully one blocker on the board.
Oh, he's just going for the blocker, Kaido.
Yeah, I
Very
guess
interesting.
just
Oh,
playing
yeah,
it
because
safe.
he has the
Yeah.
he has the Reiju, so trying to play it safe.
Yeah, he could, technically speaking, with his leader effect, reduce the power of Rage down to 5,000 power and then use Mamada Gun to rest it. Some nice power-based reduction combos that you can do there. But going for the safer combo, just dropping down the 10 cost Kaido first, as if you are going to use your leader effect, you do want to do it before you, or you want to play down the Kaido before you use your leader effect. So going for this play and just waiting for 9k with the 2 dome that he gets back through that Kaido effect.
Yeah, and I mean, still has 2 life. Is going to end up getting the blocker out. That's rough. It's not looking good.
It is not looking great for Enel right now. His board just isn't sticking. Any board that he plays down is either obliterated or he's forced to use as a blocker. And although Kaido is down to 2 life now, there's a huge blocker on the board that Enel cannot realistically Mamada Gun without investing so much dome.
Yeah, it's just one of those, even if you're able to Mamada Gun it down, how are you actually going to be able to go for the lethal play? I mean, something like Divine Departure into Mamada Gun is probably his best chance. And then, like, somehow finding a bunch of access to things like Elsewhere.
Yeah, you
to
need
power up his characters.
Yeah, because right now that pudding attack basically doesn't mean anything if you swing for anything 6k or less. So I believe that is 5 don't attach is going to be going for the 7k to at least force the later effect plus 1 more card. Kaido does not even want to give it up, taking the free block off of that 10 cost Kaido.
Now going for a bunch of reduction. It could be something like his last Dawn being a shoulda. Yeah, and just going for reduction on all of it, trying to find the attacks that way, trying to find lethal any way he can. Definitely some very creative play, putting out the L-Thors. I mean, he definitely knows he doesn't have another turn, right? So
yes,
I really like this play. I think whether or not he wins, I think he's definitely playing all of his outs.
Yeah, and interestingly, both of the 1k from the L4 goes to his leader, so it's going to be another 7k, touching all of the dong to his shoulda that has rush. I believe that's a 7,000 or
yes, but leader ability 1k is going to be enough to stop it. The 10k attack, of course, goes through.
Yeah,
but it is not going to be enough. Kaido, the premier ramp control deck of the format, and he just gets through with his last attack. Kaido is the very first winner of the iKailaCup. Great job, Akuma.
Great job, Akuma. Said he was going to win, pulls through in the end, and finishes out with a 17,000 swing with that king that Enel could not do anything about that entire game. So hard to remove that king, and he didn't even want to try, preferring to get rid of the 12,000 power Kaidos instead of that king, and that king just re-ramping Dong every single turn, swinging for 7,000 over and over again is enough to make the difference in the end. Kaido, all he needed was a 1k in his hand, and he had it extremely easily.
I mean, definitely we saw some creative play from the Enel player for sure. I wonder if there was, because, we ended up not being able to see that 10 cost Kaido until very late in the game. I wonder if there was some point where if he was able to play more of the 1 costs from our Enel player, if you could have, reduced the Kaido with something like a Gamma Knife and tried to pressure it that way, trying to, force his opponent to minus a bunch of Dawn or choose the Kaido, it really seemed like throughout that game, especially because, you know, he was missing the 10 cost Kaido, that without that king, he would not have actually had the opportunity to constantly re-ramp and constantly play out those characters. So that might be one of the lines that is worth exploring in the future, especially as Kaido seemingly becomes more popular because of its results today. But I'm definitely very interested to see how Kaido develops, and I'm very interested to see how Enel develops, because I don't think a lot of people thought Enel was going to, you know, stick around for much longer in this new format.
Yeah, I do think that we only had one Enel in the day, but it made it all the way into the finals, ended up losing to Kaido, but Kaido, very small share as well, as we can see right over here.
Yeah.
But still, a couple of people who brought Kaido. We saw that one ended up faltering after going 2-0. There were two of them that were 2-0, one of them that ended up going all the way 5-0 in the first iKailaCup, because we only had 52 people today, means that we only have 5 rounds. But that means that he's locked in a box of OP17.
He's got a box of OP17, 10 Kaila points, so he's one step closer to his trip to Japan, assuming he's saving it for that. We don't know. You might, you know, cash out for some of our other great prizes on the iKaila prize wall. How did you think about it today? I had a great time.